So, solving proportions is what we're up to now, so here's what you need to understand about doing that. Basically, setting up the proportions is really an important step, and if you set it up, they almost easily solve in most cases. There's three ways mainly of doing it, though. The first way is figuring out the unit rate, and then using it to multiply it out. Then using mental math is another way. That's probably the easiest. That's the easiest type of proportion. And then using cross products is the final one. And so if you look here, we got using unit rates. And if you imagine here, 8 gallons of gas cost $28. Then how much will 12 gallons of gas cost? Well, if you remember the whole idea of unit rates, what you do is you say, well, $28 is for 8 gallons. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out what it is for 1 gallon. So remember, I divide the top and the bottom by 8, and if I do that, I can do that over here. I'll end up with 1 on the bottom, so it's per 1 gallon, and so now I've just got to divide the 8 in here. I know I'm going to need a couple of decimal points because I know that 28 doesn't go evenly in there, so I'll anchor the decimal right now. 8 goes into 2 0 times. 8 goes into 28 3 times. 24. So that's equal to. So then we subtract and we end up with 4. Bring down the 0. And now, so that's 3. Then 8 goes into 40 5 times. So that's going to be, and then we have nothing left. So it's actually going to be, what I added there, $3.50 per 1 gallon of gas. And now all I want to do is I want to figure out how much it would be for 12 gallons of gas. All I'm going to do is 12 times 3.5. So I like to leave it as 350 just because since we're dealing with money, I'd like to have 2 decimal places. So 2 times 0, 0, 2 times 5, 10, carry the 1, 2 times 3, 6 plus 1 is 7. And remember now we're multiplying by 10, so we have to add that 0 there, and then it's 0, 5, 3. So what's it going to be? It's going to be 0, 0, 2, 4. So it will be $42 for 12 gallons of gas then. So pretty simple. And using mental math is actually even easier. Put a couple of equal signs here. So if you look here, 2/3 or 2 over 3 is equal to d over 9. So all I got to do is figure out, well, what do I need to multiply by to get to 9? So in this case here, it's going to be, well, 3 times 3. Remember, it's not plus 6, it's times 3. And here, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing, times 3. So 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So that's going to be equal to d. Now here, same sort of idea. Well, I've got 90 over 60 is equal to 3 over p. So 90 divided by 30 equals 3. 60 divided by 30 equals, well, let's figure it out. It's going to be 60 divided by 30 is equal to 2. So, and this, since we can do this in our head, that's why it's mental math. Now, using cross products is really pretty easy too. All this is you do what we did before, multiply the top times the bottom when we were checking to see if things formed a proportion. This times this is equal to this times this. So let's see, 8 times 30 is equal to 240. Is that equal to, that's going to be equal to 12 y. So 12 times y. So I divide the 12 into 24, I get 2, so that's going to be y is going to be equal to 20, because 20 times 12 is equal to 240. Now over here, same sort of idea, 9 times 16, it's just 9 times 10, 90, plus 9 times 6, 54, so that's going to be 144 is equal to 30 times p. So all I gotta do is I gotta get rid of that 30. I gotta divide by 30. So 144 divided by 30. So it's gonna be 0, 0. How many times does 30 go into 144? It doesn't go in 5 times, it goes in 4 times, because if it was 5 times it would go in, and it would be, let's see here, it would be 150, so this is going to be 120, it's now 24, we're to bring down that 0, and here we got, so here, what we got here is we got the 4 up there, we need to bring down the 0 now, we've got 30 here, 30 goes into, I got to anchor that decimal point. 30 goes into 248 times. It's 240. And I'm left with nothing. So the answer is P is equal to 4.8. Now the last thing here is another word problem. There are 1,000 stormtroopers on an Imperial Star Destroyer. How many stormtroopers will there be on the Imperial fleet of 200 Star Destroyers? Okay, so we set up a proportion here. 1,000 stormtroopers. Stormtroopers to 1 Star Destroyer. Now, if you notice, that is a unit rate. So, pretty easy to figure out if there's 1 Star Destroyer, then there's 1,000. Then all I have to do is multiply that number by 200, and I end up with 200 times 1,000, which is just going to be, the answer is going to be 200,000 is equal to the number of troops, of stormtroopers. Because again, that's just 200 times, because if there's that in 1. And if I wanted to, I could set up the proportion and do it another way too. So let me just demonstrate that for a second here. If I wanted to, I could do it the old-fashioned way, which is to go ahead and set it up like this and say, well, 200. I'm just going to put that SD for Star Destroyers is equal to X, and then I could cross multiply too, so it's just going to be 1,000 times 200, so it still is the same answer, to 200,000 stormtroopers. I'm just going to put that ST. And there we are, we're done.